Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's 10 at 10, where this week we're looking at paying yourself more. Now, what we're going to be doing today is looking at the common allowable expenses, and I'll emphasize the allowable part. So, these are the business expenses which you may or may not be incurring, which are allowable for your business. Now, hopefully, with some of the items we've raised, we get you thinking, oh, actually, I should be claiming that and I'm not. And hopefully, with some of the other items, you're thinking, okay, good, I'm glad to know I'm claiming that correctly. So, the first allowance we're going to look at is the work from home allowance. So, this is for any business owners who actually carry out any of their business activities from their household. You can claim for a proportion of your household costs while you're doing this. Now, you can do the simplified option where if you work for more than 25 hours at home, well, 25 hours or more, you can simply claim a flat rate of £4 per week as an allowable business expense. So it's tax deductible and you can reimburse yourself the cash. Brilliant. But if you think actually, I work from home a lot, I've got quite high costs for electricity, gas, rates, rent, mortgage interest, not the capital, just the actual mortgage interest, then you might be better off calculating it. So we do actually have a calculator on our website, which you are welcome to use, and it can give you a breakdown of how much you're eligible to claim. Now, this is fantastic, it's tax efficient, and it's cash straight in your pocket. So if you aren't doing the work from home allowance and you do work from home, please do consider it. Now, you can have a rental agreement with your limited company in place as well. So I would look at the various options, look at what your expenses are, whether you should simplify it, whether you should claim as a calculation, but please do look at this. Now, one thing I will say is you cannot claim for water expenses, but you can claim for various other costs, such as electricity, gas, rates, rent, and of course, mortgage interest. Now, the second expense is really, really common, mileage. So, if you're ever doing any business travel, and you might be doing this in a personal car, you should be claiming for mileage. Now, not to be confused with claiming for a fuel receipt. If you're doing mileage, business miles in a personal car, you can't just claim for the fuel receipt as a flat rate. You should be claiming for mileage at 45 pence per mile, even if you only drive to a train station to start off your workload. Now, 45 pence is the maximum amount you can claim tax free. So basically, everyone sets it to 45 pence per mile, but this only applies for the first 10,000 miles, after which it reduces down to 25 pence per mile. But you cannot put any personal car costs through the business, so you can't put any repairs, any maintenance, you can't put the actual fuel receipt through. But in saying that, if you do claim mileage, please do keep the VAT receipts and you can claim back an element of the 45 pence as VAT because this 45 pence is made up of fuel, wear and tear, and insurance, etc. It covers all of it. But only the fuel element of that is eligible for VAT. And HMRC does publish advisory fuel rates every quarter, which you can use to calculate how much of this 45 pence is actually eligible for VAT. So it might say 30 pence is not, but 15 pence includes VAT. So that's how it works. So 30 pence you can't claim VAT on, 15 pence you can claim about 3 pence worth of VAT on. So really useful one. Now, also, if you're incurring any personal expenses, by which I mean you're paying for business expenses, but you're paying for them personally, please do claim them back. Don't forget about them. The way around this is actually, if you always carry the company debit card on you, you don't have the situation in the first place. But if you do pay for anything on a personal card, that's actually a business expense, you can claim this cash back tax-free because you've already paid for it out of your taxed income. So you can claim this straight back. Now, how you do this, up to you, but you could use apps such as Receipt Bank, HubDoc, even Evernote, just anything which you can use to store and record your expenses to make sure that you're claiming all of these back. Now, another one to consider, this might not be relevant to everyone, but who knows? It's the uniform allowance. So if you wear a uniform to work, you can claim an allowance in your tax return. Now, this one's not actual cash, but you get relief in your personal tax allowance. So it reduces your personal tax bill. It's a nice one. But just remember, it only applies to uniforms. So sadly, if you just wear a suit to work, that's not classified as a uniform under HMRC's eyes because you could wear it on a weekend. You could go out in it. The whole point of a uniform is it's exclusively used for work. So you might have an apron or you might have something company embroidered, such as this. I probably wouldn't wear this on a weekend. I might look a bit daft. So if I washed this personally, then yes, that would qualify for the uniform allowance. Pensions. So if you're a sole trader or you've got a limited company, you can put through your pensions, your personal pensions, and these are tax deductible if paid for by the business. Really quick win. Obviously, you don't see the cash just yet, but it's good to know that you're topping up your pension pot and it's tax deductible. So please do consider that. And if you do have a phone contract, now's your chance to put it through the company if you haven't already. This is tax deductible. You can recover the VAT if you're VAT registered. And if you just have one single phone contract, there's no benefits in kind charged on this. So it's win-win-win all round. But remember, no benefit in kind only if you have one single phone contract putting through the business. Extending on from phones a little bit, if you have other assets within your business, such as computers, printers, other equipment, these can be put through the business, but only if they're wholly and exclusively used in the business. So you can't just put through your kid's gaming PC. It has to be exclusively for business use. So it's amazing, actually, how many people forget about this and they start a company and they end up introducing an asset because they have a computer which they do use solely for work and they forget to introduce it, but you can actually introduce it. And it's really, really handy way of getting cash back into your pocket. It's a really handy way of getting an asset which is benefiting you, paid for by the business. And ironically, we actually see it's amazing how many assets get bought at the end of December. Now, I wonder why this could be, but actually, it's a really, really good investment. And these costs. They might not sit in your P&L. They will sit in your balance sheet because they're an asset purchase, but they are still tax deductible, and you can still recover the VAT. Now, this is a really good way of tax planning because when it gets to the end of your financial year, if you really need a new computer and you need it for business work, then you can buy this right at the end of your tax year and you get the full recovery on it during your next tax return. So it's really, really helpful. Now, if you do use computers a lot at work, you can also claim for eye tests. But this is obviously if your work is screen based. So right now I'm looking at the screen a lot. I could be eligible to claim for an eye test because it's part and parcel of my work and I'm allowed to claim for this as a business expense. Now, glasses themselves are trickier. They are allowed, but only if they are 100% for business use only. So I'll use me as an example again. If I only ever wore these when looking at a computer screen and I only ever used them at work, I would be allowed to claim for them. Sadly, I also need them for driving, so I'm not allowed to claim for them as a business expense because sadly, me driving about is not a business use only. And I will emphasize they have to be 100% for business use only. Medical insurance is a really good one as well. Much in the same way as pensions, you can put your medical insurance through the business, but you cannot just put medical treatments straight through. So you can claim on the insurance, but you can't put the medical treatments that you're paying for straight through your business as they're not allowable. But if you have a medical insurance scheme set up with the company, it's fine as long as the medical insurance pays for it. But of course, with medical insurance, there is a benefit on kind to pay at the end of the tax year. Now, fortunately, there's no employees' national insurance to pay, but there will be employers' national insurance to pay as Class 1 NICs. So, a little bit of a cost to it, but huge benefit to you, and the amount is also tax deductible in your business expenses, so it reduces your corporation tax a little bit. And our final allowance for you today is professional subscriptions. So this is a really key one. You might be a member of a body. So let's use me as an example. I'm a member of Chartered Institute of Global Management Accountants. And quite frankly, this is a business expense. I may pay for it personally, but I am allowed to claim it back because it's a professional subscription. It relates to my job role, it fulfills all of my business obligations, etc. So I can claim for these if I'm paying for them personally. Now, the other alternative is you can quite simply just change the direct debit to go out of the business account instead, so you don't need to worry about claiming it back and missing it. But a really good one, just look back through your subscriptions, which you're paying for personally, check which ones actually you think that's purely for the business, that's professional subscription, etc. Make sure you're claiming those back. So really, really helpful. Do please look at some of these expenses because actually they're really common. A lot of people do encounter them, and a lot of the times people miss them. So please do look at that and consider the ones which will benefit you and get extra cash into your pocket. All right, thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed today's video, please do let us know in the comments. Likewise, if you have any queries, also ping those in the comments as well. Just add them in the comments. And if you like this and found this useful, please keep watching. This week we'll be covering other items to help you get more cash in your pocket this week. So really, really good one. You're making the money. You want to get it in your pocket. We're going to help you with that. And thank you very much once again, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye.